Picture this. You're standing on that ferry at 6 a.m., stomach churning, not from seasickness, but from the pure terror about what could go wrong in the next 8 hours. Will you miss the corral start? Run out of toilet paper at mile 3? Hit the wall on the Queensboro Bridge with no one cheering? I'm here with Coach Whitney, who's conquered New York twice, and she's about to reveal the survival strategies that separate finishers from DNFs. And from that nerve wracking ferry ride to crossing the finish line in Central Park, we're covering every single thing that keeps first time New York City marathoners awake at night and exactly how to handle it when race day chaos hits. I have Coach Whitney LaCombe from our Healthy Runner coaching team with me here to share proven New York City marathon strategies for success. Welcome back to the show, Whitney.
Hi, thanks for having me back. Just that intro gave me chills, just memories of, going into Central Park and that finish line. It's quite an experience.
Quite epic, I hear. I have not run the New York City
Oh
Marathon
yeah.
yet myself, so I don't know what that feels like, but you've done it twice. Do you mind sharing with our listeners and viewers, like how many marathons that you have run personally? And then how many, athletes and clients of ours would you guess that you've helped and, conquer that 26.2 distance throughout the years?
Yeah, so I actually just got back from the Chicago Marathon, which was marathon number 11 for me.
Woohoo!
Fantastic race. Not quite New York City, but it'll do as one of the world majors. It was pretty good. So 11 marathons for me. I've helped probably 40 to 50 individuals conquer the 26.2, and some of those people we've worked through multiple cycles, so they've run several marathons with my guidance.
Yes, yeah. So you're definitely well experienced in this distance, and yeah, kudos to you. 11 is huge. I am still on five, about to run number six myself personally. But today we are going to really provide the ultimate race day strategy for runners to master their marathon in New York. Like we're going to get into some race morning logistics, the course experience, Expo essentials, race strategy, post race, best place for family to cheer. How can friends track you on race day? These are just some of the things that we're going to touch upon during today's conversation. And if you're new to the show, we teach you how to execute the 6 key parts of your running journey. So you'll not only feel more confident in getting stronger and faster, you'll stay healthy and enjoy the process of running again and crush the New York City Marathon along the way. And what are those 6 parts? It is mindset, strength training, run plan, nutrition, recovery, and race strategy. Therefore, in today's episode, you're going to get that like race strategy bucket filled with a bunch of goodies and tips from Coach Whitney for your New York City Marathon experience. And there is a freebie download that comes with this episode, just to let you know. And that is our ultimate marathon blueprint that really covers marathon specific mindset, base building, strength training, marathon training for beginners, advanced marathon training, common mistakes to avoid, recovery, which is a part of the training, often overlooked, marathon specific like pacing strategy, nutrition, hydration for the marathon, as well as like post marathon mistakes to avoid, because there are some things that you need to do after the marathon that is so you can actually keep running without having to take a long time off of running. So you can grab that download. Simply go to learn.sparkhealthyrunner.com/marathon. And yeah, Whitney, let's get into today's topic. I'm excited to really get started with some race morning logistics. These are like the most common questions a lot of our athletes have. So how long is that like ferry ride that I already mentioned? And what happens if I miss my corral start time?
So the ferry ride itself isn't really that long. I want to say it was maybe 20 to 30 minutes, maybe. But you get to the Staten Island Ferry terminal, and you can really get on any ferry. So let's say you selected the time to get on the ferry at 7:15, but you show up at 7. Go ahead and get on that 7 o'clock ferry. Like there's nobody's checking. It's public transportation. Anybody can ride the ferry. If there are bathrooms on the ferry, just remember that too, and they're pretty clean. So if you need to go, it's a place to go. If you miss your start corral, they will just have you start in the next wave. It's not a big deal for you. You might want to let your spectators know, or anybody that's going to be on course or tracking you, hey, I missed my start time. I'm starting at this time now. Because they're going to be looking for you and be like, well, but she was supposed to start at 9:45 and it's now 10 o'clock and she hasn't crossed the start line. So just let people know, but they'll just have you start in the next wave. It's not a big deal. I mean, ideally, try to be there on time. The whole thing for New York is hurry up and wait. You got to hurry up to get where you're going, and then you just wait until it's your turn or your time to do whatever it is. So don't stress too much.
Okay, and that ferry ride pretty much takes you like out to the start village, right? Is that correct?
No. So
Okay.
you have to get to the ferry terminal. I usually take an Uber just because I'm not so good with the subways and all that. So I just take an Uber. They get you as close as possible. Sometimes you walk like 5 or 6 blocks. Not a big deal. You get on the ferry, then when you get to Staten Island, you get off the ferry, you just follow the crowds. You walk through the ferry terminal, you get outside, you walk a little bit, and then you get into a corral or a queue, and you get on a school bus. You ride the school bus for about 40 minutes to Fort Wadsworth. Then you're at the start village. You go through security, and then you're in the village that has the blue, the orange, and the pink hangout areas, if you will. So
Okay. Thank
there's
you
a
for
lot of
clarifying.
little parts to get
Yes.
to the start village.
A lot of logistics. And
Yes.
I would say this out of any marathon that I've ever heard of, like this has probably the most amount of like pre-race logistics going on and like a
Yes.
lot of stuff you need to know.
Yes.
Because yeah, like just me hearing about some of this is like, wow, this is like in operation. So what should like you bring to the start village and like any unusual items that you would recommend?
Warm clothes because it's New York in November. It could be hot, it could be cold, it could be rainy, it could be snowy. Who knows? Bring warm clothes, whether that's sweatpants, a sweatshirt. I recommend something that zips, so you're not trying to pull it over your head. Another thing that I did both years I ran it that was fantastic is I wore a pair of, I call them throwaway shoes. So, like really old, rundown, grody shoes that I knew I could toss. And I put my race shoes on once I got there or right before I actually went to my corral, which is not something I normally do for races. But because there was a lot of walking and buses and ferries, and I didn't want my pretty shoes to get dirty. So I brought them with me. Another thing that most people don't think about is bringing something to sit on because you're either sitting in grass, which could be muddy or wet, or you're sitting on like in a parking lot on asphalt, which is hard and cold or scratchy and gross. Bring something to sit on. You can bring a yoga mat. You can just bring a trash bag, an old towel. I think they frown upon like sleeping bags, but I've seen those. So I don't really know what is allowed and not, but bring something to sit on. A heat sheet works great. I brought one of those hefty, those black trash bags, and that was fantastic. I put it down in the grass, so it was a little soft to sit on. I wasn't getting wet. Another thing that people don't think about, and we'll talk about porta potties, I always bring extra toilet paper. Now, at the start village, I didn't have an issue with running out of toilet paper. It was the post race porta potties when all the finishers have crossed the line and they realize, oh my goodness, I haven't gone pee in 4 hours and they have to go. That's when you see people running out of toilet paper. But bring it to the start village because you never know. It might be low, so maybe you just leave it in there for the next person. But toilet paper, snacks, another thing is a magazine. Bring a magazine or two that you can read to pass the time, and then just leave it for somebody else because somebody else in a later wave is going to need something to do. So bring a magazine. They don't take up much space in your drop bag.
That makes sense. And yeah, that drop bag, does that stay there and then do they transport it at the end or
So the
how's that work out?
drop bag, there are two options. You can actually do a drop bag so it's at the start line or at the finish line for you. That has to be dropped off on Saturday
Okay.
at a specific location. I've never done the drop bags at New York because my parents are always there. So they just have all my stuff for me at the finish. But if you choose to take a bag into the start village, it has to be the clear bag that they give you at the expo. And then you either leave it by your corral before you walk in and they dispose of it, or you just throw it in a trash can. They do donate all of the clothing that is left. They donate, so it's not going into the trash. It does get donated and reused. But if you want to do that drop bag, you need to make sure you take it to the designated location on Saturday. They used to do it day of, and that just got too complicated. They'd load up like UPS trucks and stuff, and that got complicated. Now it's Saturday, and it'll be at the finish line for you on Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. So basically, anything that you're bringing into the village, you're not taking with you at all, right?
Correct.
It's something that
Correct.
you want to donate. Okay.
Yes.
And yeah, you mentioned the porta potty situation that you have toilet paper in the start village, maybe not at the finish line. How about, what is it at like the start area? And, like, are there ridiculously long lines or do they run out of toilet paper like on the course itself? Have you heard of any of those stories?
So I haven't heard of them running out on the course. They do. I will tell you, I've never been to a race with more porta potties. Honestly, you would think with 57,000 people, you do need a lot of porta potties, but there are probably every color, so blue, orange, and pink, depending on what color your bib is, that's where you go and hang out, have different locations that have porta potties. I've never seen so many porta potties in my life. Now, I got into a line that seemed pretty long. I was trying to kill time, so I didn't really care. It moved so fast because the line queues for like 6 or 7 different porta potties. So it moved faster than any other race I've been to. They have them scattered throughout. There are some right when you walk in from the bus drop off, there's a bunch. In each color, there's a bunch. In the middle area, there are a bunch. And New York City has porta potties in your corral. So once you get into your corral and the corral closes, they still had like 30 porta potties. And I noticed this last year, and I don't know if this is an every year thing, but they locked like a section of the porta potties. And my guess is that they have like wave one uses the first 6 porta potties, wave two uses the next 6, and wave three, and so on, so that they do have toilet paper and it does last, which is kind of nice.
Hmm. That is interesting. Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned about bringing like a magazine, right, or something to read that you want to
Yes.
donate to pass some of the hours at Start Village. How many hours are you actually there? And then any other, recommendations to pass the time?
So don't use your phone because you're going to be tempted to scroll social media. One, there are so many people that service self service is not great. And two, you want to conserve your battery because it's going to be a long day. So stay off your phone if you can. I mean, take some pictures because it's New York City Marathon. It's epic. Take some pictures. Don't scroll social. Don't answer emails. Bring a magazine. You will be there for a while, even if you're in like the second wave. I mean, let's be honest, I'm not an elite runner. I'm not running in the first wave. But you're going to be there for a while. I would say you're there anywhere from like 2 to 4, maybe 5 hours depending on when your start is. So you
Wow.
want something to do. I've seen people with coloring books. I've seen people doing yoga. Another fun thing that they have is in each color, they have puppies you can go and pet. It's
Really?
emotional support puppies.
Oh, that's neat.
Right? And you can just go in there and like sit in there and play with the puppies and they'll crawl all over you and like snuggle. I've never seen a race do it. So cool. So you can go pass the time by playing with puppies.
There you go. That's a good idea. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So this is a long, long day. So we're
Yes.
talking like if we're looking at beginning, start of your day, if you're leaving your hotel to literally getting back at your hotel after the race that you did that took you 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, maybe. You're looking at like 8 to 12 hour day, maybe, right?
At
In
least.
total.
At least.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So last year I was in wave 3. I don't remember the start time for that. I think it was 10:20. And I left my hotel at 5:30. I got back to the hotel at about 3:30, changed my clothes, and then took the train back to Connecticut. But by the time, that's 12 hours, or
Wow.
that's 10
Yeah.
hours, right?
Yeah.
Math is hard for me. 10 hours from the
Same.
time I left to the time I got back. So yeah. If you're in one
Yeah.
of the later, the wave 4, wave 5, it's a long day. So be prepared.
So I think even as folks kind of get ready to go into, the marathon itself, not only do you need to mentally prepare for any marathon that you're running, I think this one's like really unique that you're like mentally preparing for like an extremely long day.
Yes.
I don't know, if anyone's like, been at conferences or presentations like where you're just like total like mental stimulation overload. I would imagine that's like what this day feels like, where your brain probably just feels fatigued from just everything, the logistics, the timing, where you're going, whether or not you do have any pre-race anxiety, thinking during the race, like mentally getting through the race, and then, the post-race like feelings. I would imagine you're just like utterly exhausted beyond belief at the end of this day.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, and I've heard, that they have, like, coffee and bagels in the Start Village. Is that true?
They do. Dunkin' Donuts provides bagels, coffee, they provide hot chocolate. There's water, Gatorade, and I've seen them give out bananas. So,
Nice.
I mean, a bagel and a banana, that's great for me before a long run, before a race. Some people that might not work for. So if you've not tried it, don't do it on race day. But if that's something you're used to and enjoy, or you enjoy a cup of coffee before a run, excellent. It's there for you and it's free. So, yeah, it's
That's
fantastic.
awesome. Yeah, because you basically need to have, like, 2 breakfasts pretty much, right? Like,
Yeah.
something before you leave your room, and then you're gonna need to eat again, and fuel for the actual marathon, so it's kinda
Yes.
nice that they have the bagels and bananas there,
Yeah.
so everyone doesn't need to bring their own with them. Alright, nice. Yeah, let's kinda pivot, a little bit and talk about the actual course itself, like, the course experience. Are the hills really as bad as everyone says they are?
No. No. Okay, I live where it's pancake flat. I know I live in Arizona, so yes, people think mountains, but where I actually live in Tucson, it's flat. I have a hill that's about this big that I train on. I go up and down and up and down and up and down. But really, the hills are not as bad as everyone says. The Verrazano, where you start, your entire first mile is uphill. So you've got the adrenaline going. You don't really even notice you're running uphill because it's the start of the race. With that being said, hold back. You want to hold back even more at the start of this race than you would any normal race, any other race, because it is deceiving. But you go up a mile and you come down a mile. The Queensboro Bridge, mile 16, that one is tough, but knowing that that's really the last big bridge, big hill that you're going to have to go over, it makes it a little easier to kind of swallow and mentally preparing and saying, oh, yeah, I know that there is going to be that hill at mile 16. It's not a secret. It's not a like sneaky little hill. You know, it's there. And that's actually a great mile because it's quiet. All you hear are other runners breathing, the foot the foot sounds on the bridge, that's it. There are no spectators on that bridge. So it's kind of a chance for you to kind of dial it back in, mentally evaluate where you're at, how you're feeling, and then you come off that bridge and you're just hit with a wall of sound, of cheering and crowds and people, and you're back in it. So I will say there is a sneaky hill. Now don't hate me for saying this. There is a sneaky hill in Central Park before you get to the finish line. I remember in 2023, the first year I ran it, coming up, it's maybe like the last 800 meters, you make a right-hand turn into Central Park, and then you kind of veer left. But I remember turning to the guy next to me who didn't speak English, which I didn't know, and I said, "Who puts a hill at the end of a marathon?" And he just kind of smiled at me and nodded. But it felt like a mountain at the end, those like last 800 meters, maybe 400 meters. I was like, what is this? Nobody told me about it. So there you guys go. There's your secret. Know that there is that hill at the end, at the very end, but you're so close to the finish line, you can see it. So you're like, all right, I got this. It's coming.
Okay, alright. So, yeah, you shouldn't. I think you need to respect the hills on this course, and a lot of people say out of all the majors, this one is definitely the most challenging course. If you're just looking at profile, compared to some of the flatter ones like Chicago or Berlin or London, right? And then Boston's kind of unique in its own way, with hills. But from what I've heard, New York is definitely the harder course to run the fastest. But if you're used to running hills, it sounds like you've added them in your training, that you're not only running in totally pancake flat areas all the time for your long runs, and you're kind of prepared for being able to go uphill, as well as being smart with your pacing strategy at that first mile.
Yes.
And not just let adrenaline take you and you're just like, this is amazing, and you totally blow your whole race because you went out too fast, charging up a hill for a mile. It sounds like it is kind of doable. All right.
Yes.
And yeah, that was definitely a helpful tip for the Queensboro Bridge at mile 16. I could see how that is maybe a good, because from what I hear, it's literally like 26.2 miles of a huge party, right? And
Oh my
to maybe
goodness.
have a
Yes.
little silence on that bridge
Yes.
is probably a good thing. And then it's actually at a kind of a good point to like reset and then just
Yeah.
focus on where you are in terms of like how your body's feeling, and like, okay, when are you going to try and pick up the pace, right? Is it going to be at mile 20? Is it going to be a little later? And you're really heading down the most challenging part of a marathon, after that point. So I feel like it's at a good place to like totally reset. And whether or not the first part like went well for you or didn't go well, it kind of gives you a chance to just like mentally reset and then like charge into the tunnel of noise, when you get
Yeah.
off that bridge.
Yes, and there is a or a I think it's a bridge. I want to say it's at mile 22 or 23. It's the last bridge you go over, and there is always a lady standing there, and she has this sign that says "Last Damn Bridge." And when you see that, you're gonna know that you're almost done with the race. Give her a big wave, give her a high five. She is there every year with that sign, and that is like every time I see it, I'm like, yes, I did it. Like I know I still have a little to go, but like you've got like a 5K left. You can do it. So,
Yeah, that's definitely inspiring. So guys, when you see her, like give her a high five. So I'm interested to hear like what was your favorite mile and what was your least favorite mile?
so I think my favorite mile, honestly, is the Queensboro Bridge because it is quiet and that is your time to reflect. That is your time to just kind of be in your own mind. And maybe that's not a good place to be at 16 miles into a marathon. But for me, it's been such a party. People are screaming your name for 26 miles. You're high fiving all the kids. Like, this is your chance to kind of just have some peace and some quiet, which is nice. Some people absolutely hate that mile. I think it's grounding, if that's the right word. I really enjoy that mile. I would say my least favorite mile, oh, it was different both years. So going into Central Park the first year, it was awful. Like the crowds, there were no barricades. So the crowds came in so close to where the runners were that there was not much space for the runners. Like, so it went basically from, let's say, a 2 lane road down to like maybe 3/4 of a lane, not even a full lane. It was tight. So I hated that mile the first year. Last year, they had barricades up. So it was fantastic. So last year, I would say my least favorite mile last year. Ooh, can I say the mile after the marathon? The walk out of the park? I,
Yeah, and we'll
yeah,
get to that post race, but yeah, I hear it's a lot of walking right after you're
yeah.
actually done with your 26.2.
It is. Yeah. But honestly, last year, I loved every single minute of the race last year. There were maybe 2 spots where people were, like, meeting up with their spectators, so it kinda came to I had to come to a dead stop just for a minute to figure out, like, how to get around them. But other than that, like, last year was the crowds were amazing, the miles were everything was fantastic. I loved the whole thing. Didn't have a
Yeah.
least favorite.
Yeah, and so with 57,000 people, I would imagine, there's obviously people everywhere. Like how crowded was the start of the race?
It was just like any other race, honestly. They do a really good job. There are 5 waves, 3 colors. I can't remember how many corrals in each wave, but they do a really good job of spacing out the runners so that you're not feeling insanely crowded. It's the start of a race. It is crowded, but by the time you get to the top of the Verrazano, it really spreads out enough. I never felt like I was going to trip over anybody other than those few spots along the course that were maybe mile like 15 or 16, 17, somewhere around there where it came to a dead stop. It was open enough that I had space. I could have put my arms out and like flown like a butterfly if I wanted. It was not bad. So,
Hmm.
they do a really, really good job.
So at mile 15 or 16, why did it come to a halt? Did it like get really narrow at that point, the course?
The course, it was like near a turn, and spectators had come in on the course. It had nothing to do, it wasn't NYRR at all. It wasn't the race itself. It was spectators that had come in because as
Oh,
I
okay.
was finally got around it, the course marshals came and they were like, "You got to get back. You got to get back." So it was the spectators coming in to see their runners,
Okay. That was
which
good.
is
You did a
not
good New
typical.
York accent there. I like that. You gotta get back, get back.
That was my police officer accent. Yeah.
I love it. I'm originally from Long Island, New York, so I can make fun of New York accents. And my family, most of them all have New York accents, so I make fun of them all the time. Now that I live in Connecticut, and I don't believe I have a New York accent, even though certain words it'll kind of slip out. My wife more so, I think, than me, especially when she gets mad or raises her voice to the girls. But uh, so watch is always like an issue. GPS at like these major marathons in cities. Like, is the watch accurate? Is like GPS issues like is that common with this marathon?
Yes and no. One, it depends on the type of watch you have. It depends on how old it is. It depends on if you drop it the week before and it goes haywire, like I did. The first year I ran with the watch that I dropped, and GPS was just out of control. But that was the watch, not GPS. So last year I had no issues whatsoever. I did run. Be prepared, you guys. It is not 26.2. It will be like 26.5, 26.7 because let's be honest, nobody can actually run the tangent, right?
Right. I
So
would
just be
imagine with all
prepared
those
for that.
people.
Um, but I had no issues. I have heard that if you are in the pink color, you run on the bottom of the bridge, which I know. But I've heard that that one does have a little bit more issue connecting initially with GPS because you are on the bottom of the bridge. You've got steel above you, all the runners, all that stuff. I don't know if that's true. I ran on pink the first year and I was in blue last year. So I was on the top of the bridge. I would say you're probably okay. I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you're worried about it, use the manual lap button and just look at your time every mile and gauge how you're doing, or run by feel versus by pace, because that's an
Right.
excellent way to run a marathon.
Okay. So you did leave on the auto lap feature on your watch. Like every mile it did beep at and told you your pace, and you felt like it was pretty accurate.
Yeah, I did. I mean,
Wow.
I always do that just because I'm not going to remember to hit the lap button.
I
I'm
know.
not.
That's what I'm
I'm
worried
just. I
about.
get in my own zone, right? Like I'm not going to remember, so I always leave on the auto lap. Um, I didn't have a problem. Towards the end, it would start telling me, it would buzz a little bit before the mile marker, obviously, because I wasn't running the tangent and I would go to every aid station. So there was that. I was weaving a little more than I should have. So I was a little ahead of where the mile markers were, but that's on me. I will say Chicago, I was worse. I ran 26.9 miles, not 26.2, but New York was a lot better, honestly. So I wouldn't
Nice.
worry too much about the GPS.
Okay. And you even did auto lap for Chicago because I hear that one gets wonky the beginning of the race, but yours didn't seem to.
No, it didn't. Like I started with the pace group for Chicago, which I won't do again for a big race. But the pacers were like, "Okay, get ready. Your watches are gonna be wonky." Mine never did. Mine
Hmm.
never like up until mile 5 when I had to step off the course for the first time. It was exactly like maybe 100 feet off. Like it was the closest I've ever had my GPS be in a big race like that. So I was surprised
Right.
because everybody warns you. But yeah.
I feel
And
like
I
I need
have
to ask you
I have a
which watch you
Garmin.
have.
Yeah, Garmin 255, the Forerunner 255.
Okay. How old is it?
Well, I got it in November of 23 after I ran New York the first time, so
Alright,
it's
so
like
it's
2
like
years
2
old.
years old. Okay.
Yeah,
Alright. Good to know. Yeah,
yeah,
my Garmin's probably like 4 or 5 years old, and I even run into issues like running around here where I know the pace is not accurate. Um, yeah, I'm thinking about, for my next marathon in Philly to try the manual lap, option, and we'll see how that works out because I hear that is an issue in
yeah,
Philly, as well. All right. Yeah. So thank you for clarifying that. And yeah, hopefully I gave you guys some reassurance if you were wondering about your GPS, or if you are getting some times where you look at your watch and it's like 2 minutes off of what you feel like you're running at. And you know that it's like, just know that if you have an older model, it might not be accurate in what it's giving you for pace or what your time or your split was for that mile, and don't like super overcorrect, because sometimes that's where people get into trouble. Is they're like, holy crap, I thought I was running at whatever 8-minute pace, 9-minute pace, and then your watch shows you like 11-minute, and then you like super overcorrect, and but maybe it was just inaccurate, and now you're like running at 6 7 minute miles, and then you're just going to totally like ruin your whole race. So just to let you guys know, and if you're already getting some value out of this, like, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video that will help you run stronger, get faster, and actually stay healthy. I truly hope that you're getting value from this video, and I wanted to take a brief moment to share with you one of my most recommended naturally sourced food supplements for runners that supercharges your recovery from running. And that is the power of Blackcurrant, which is a berry, by the way, just like blueberries, but they have the highest level of anthocyanins, which is a strong antioxidant of any berry. And CurraNz has a product that's conveniently packs these super berries into a capsule. As I frequently say, recovery is a part of the training, and you can only run as fast or as long as you can recover from that run in order to stay healthy for longevity. CurraNz is taken as a pre workout supplement, and it's going to help improve your recovery times and reduce the effects of fatigue or muscle soreness after a hard run or strength session. There are over 50 studies investigating the effects of these super berries, and CurraNz has been studied to improve blood flow by up to 45%, which removes metabolites from our muscles, reduces oxidative stress. In fact, a recent British study actually showed that CurraNz helped accelerate recovery of muscle function 3 times faster than placebo. And soreness in the active group reduced up to 49%. Tissue damage was reduced by 84%, which is attributed to the improvement in blood flow that was seen, as well as blackcurrant's anthocyanins' inherent antioxidant and anti inflammatory properties. You can learn more about the real science behind blackcurrant extract with my interview with Floor Cushman in the video that I have for you linked in the description if you want to learn more and get into some of the science. And having a supplement that is backed by science is important to me. And it's what I look at when I put anything in my body, and is the reason why I've been using CurraNz for the last 2 years, because I was looking for a supplement to help maximize my recovery from hard marathon training so I could stay healthy during the training. And now that you're a part of our Healthy Runner community, you can get 20% off your first order using the link that I have for you in the description. You can go to CurraNzUSA.com. Just use the code HealthyRunner during checkout when placing your order. Go ahead and give CurraNz a try to help you recover from those runs. Trust me, you won't regret it. So, as we get into this next section here, the expo, right? I love race expos. I really do. Sometimes we can get ourselves into trouble if we spend way too long there. So, how long does it actually take to actually complete or do the expo in New York? If you were really concerned about, like, don't want to be on your feet too much.
if you just wanna be in and out, you can be. You go in, you get your bib, you have to then walk to where you pick up your T-shirt, but you don't have to do the rest of the expo if you don't want to. You can go back to your hotel, put your feet up, watch a movie on Netflix, eat some pasta. You can be in and out of there, I would say maybe 45 minutes. If you're anything like me, and it sounds like Duane, you like to do a little shopping. It usually
Mhm.
takes me about 3-ish hours because I want to see all the things and talk to all the people and do all the stuff. And but yeah, you can be in and out pretty quickly if you want. The way that New York is set up, you pick up your bib, you pick up your shirt, you can leave. Or you can pick up your bib, pick up your shirt, go to the New Balance store because they're the apparel um, shop
Title
for the New York
sponsor.
City Marathon. And they have some really awesome stuff. You can get your finisher's jacket, try it on, and then put it away. Don't put it on again until race after you finish because bad juju. Go buy your hat and your gloves. They have fantastic thin gloves that have the 5 boroughs on, or one of the 5 boroughs on each of your fingers. They are like the perfect gloves. I have like 3 pairs of them. They are amazing. Go buy the little stuffed teddy bear for your little kid or your niece or nephew. Go buy the coffee mug. Go buy all the stuff. And then once you do that at checkout, if it's your first time running New York City, they make a huge deal. They ring the cowbells and they shout, "We've got a first time runner," and
That's
everybody
cool.
cheers. And it's just they make a huge deal. If it's your 5th time running, your 6th, whatever, they make a huge deal and cheer for you at checkout, which is so weird to me, but it's so cool. Then once you go through New Balance, you get into the actual expo that has all the different booths. They've got the Bolega booth and the Shocks booth, and UCAN is there, and anybody else you could possibly imagine. They had hair extensions and lash extensions, and Milk is there. You can go and talk to the pacing group. You can get a pace band. They give out free pace bands. So if you do have a time goal, go and talk to the pacers. See what their game plan is for the day. Are they going to try and have even splits, negative splits? What is their plan? But get a free pace band. Even if you don't wear it, it's a nice free souvenir. So do that. Go talk to anybody you want. They have probably 30 photo ops set up throughout the expo. The lines are pretty long for those, so just be prepared. If you don't want to be on your feet, you might avoid those. But with different backgrounds and all crazy fun things. The expo is a really, really fun time, but you can get overwhelmed and be on your feet a little too long. So just be aware of that.
And
Yeah.
you have to schedule, like, what time you're going, correct?
You do. They want to know, are you coming? I can't remember if it opens Thursday. I think it opens Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And then you get like a 2 or 3 hour window on those days. But nobody checks, honestly. Let's say you were scheduled for Friday at 1 p.m., but it's Friday and it's 11 o'clock, and you're like, I don't know what to do for the next 2 hours. Go to the expo. They have it set up that way so it kind of spreads out the crowds throughout the weekend and not everybody descends on the Javits Center on Saturday. It kind of helps to manage the crowds, but they're not going to be like, nope, you got to wait 2 hours. So you can go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I feel like, race shirts, like, I love race shirts, but I am very particular, and
Yes.
when it doesn't fit right, it doesn't make me very happy. So what if, like, the race shirt doesn't fit? Do you happen to know, like, do they offer exchanges,
They
or are they
do.
just like, "You signed up for a large, this is all you get?"
No, so they do. So they might be out of your size. If you order a small and you decide you actually want an extra small or one of the other sizes, they might be out of that size because they've already allocated it to the other runners. But they have an exchange booth, a shirt exchange booth where you can go and say, "Hey, this shirt doesn't fit." And you can try it on. I've done that. I mean, I always have like a tank top on under my jacket or whatever. So I always try it on. Like this shirt is a small. I mean, the color is a little crazy, but this is the shirt I got for the race last year. It's by New Balance. It's a great fit. It's a size small. I didn't even try this one on. I just held it up and I was like, oh, that'll work. So, but they
Yeah,
do offer exchanges. I know, which year was it? One of the years they ran out of shirts, like just in general, Big Fat ran out of shirts, but they ended up mailing them to the runners after the race.
nice.
I don't know if there was an issue with ordering or delivering or what happened, but everybody did get a shirt. So
It
don't worry.
doesn't help your, like, post-race pics and your Medal Monday photo, but at least those people got their shirts and they did
Yes.
right by them. But it is a classy shirt, I must say.
Yes, it's
It is
great.
very classy. I like
The
it.
year before was blue, which was nice. It was like our spark
Mm,
blue.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
I'd have been a big fan of that one.
Yeah. I love it. I wear it all the time. They have not yet released the 2025 shirt. They just released the medal, but I don't know what the shirt looks like for this year. So
Okay. And
hopefully it's good for you guys.
can friends and family join you at the expo?
Absolutely. My mom has come every year. Both times I went, she'll continue to go with me. It's like our thing. You can bring as many people as you want. I've seen people with baby strollers. I've seen huge groups of people together. You can absolutely bring your friends. Just be respectful if you do bring a big group that you're not, standing in the way. Like you're not all standing in front of the rack for, the sweatpants, right? You want to be respectful to other people and not take up the entire area. But yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit of race strategy. It is definitely one of our 6 steps to growing in our running journey is the race strategy. And sometimes people forget about that, that what they kind of do and execute on race day does matter in how they will perform. So in terms of like hydration, nutrition, should you carry your own or rely on the course support? What are your thoughts?
So that's a personal question. I always carry my own nutrition. Always, 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 always. I never rely on the gels they have on course. One, because it might not be what you're used to using, although you've known for months now what they're going to have on course. So maybe you trained with it. I am just so type A that I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to run out. Like, what do I do? So I just carry my own. They do provide gels a couple times throughout the course. So if it's what you normally use, by all means, grab one. But I say grab one because you want to make sure that there are enough for the people coming behind you. I've seen people that have grabbed like five, and I'm like, you don't need five. What are you doing? So be respectful. In terms of hydration, I always train with a vest and then I race without it. I feel like it makes me faster. I don't know if it actually does, but I'm like, I'm lighter. I can go faster. But there are so many aid stations at this course, on this race. You don't really need to bring it with you. Every aid station has water. Every aid station has Gatorade. There is a medical tent, porta potties, like whatever you need, they've got for you. And they're every mile except for mile 1, 16, and there's like one other bridge. On the bridges, they don't have the aid stations, but they are either right before or right after the bridges. So you still do get it within a little bit of that mile marker. But that's a good way to kind of break up your race because you're not, especially when you get into that bad place, and you're like, oh, I just have to go a mile and then I get to an aid station and I can take like 5 seconds to walk through it. Okay, now I just have to go another mile. Okay, another mile. It's really awesome that they are at every single mile on the course. Yeah.
That is awesome, and that's definitely a benefit to this marathon because I've done some smaller marathons, and yeah, they're spread out.
Yeah.
It's like, and they're random too. It's like one might be like a mile, mile and a half apart from each other. Then at other points it's like 2.5 miles, and you're like, you wish you had that aid station there. So that
Yeah.
is nice that the aid stations are every mile. And if you guys want to learn more about like proper nutrition and hydration for marathon training and racing, quite frankly, that just make a massive difference in keeping you healthy as a runner. This is all I talk about in my free newsletter, Healthy Runner. Link is in the description for that. And in terms of like the crowds, like I hear they're electric. Um, do you recommend wearing AirPods or aftershocks or yeah, what are thoughts with that?
You don't need to because honestly, there's so much going on. You really don't need it. I always wear my shocks. Uh, I've never turned them on in New York, but I know some people, sometimes you get into that space where you just kind of need to zone out and not have the crowd all around you. You don't want to have people yelling, Whitney, go Whitney, like over and over and over again. So you might want your AirPods or your shocks. You might want to just turn on white noise to kind of drown out the noise, depending on your personality. But the crowds are electric. Like, I'm telling you, I felt like a superstar. Everybody shouts your name. If you put your name on your shirt, literally every single person is going to say your name. I remember the first year, by the time I got to the finish line, I was like, if one more person says my name, I'm going to cry. Like, it was insane. But like, you get into that place where you're like, I don't want to take another step. And then someone's like, go, Whitney, you've got this. And just start smiling. And you're like, I can do this. And you like just start going again. It's amazing. So yeah, wear your headphones if you want, but you really don't need them, honestly.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned before, if we kind of shift gears to like, all right, race is over. You've done it. You've conquered 26.2. You get past that finish line, and now is the walk out of the park. Is it really that long? Like, how long is this walk? You mentioned before, like the mile after the race was the worst mile.
Yeah,
Is it like a mile that you're
yeah,
walking?
yeah.
Okay.
It's really, really long, and it's uphill. So be prepared for that.
And is that
So
before you see family and friends?
yes, that's just to get out
Okay.
of the park. Yeah, it's about a mile, and do not stop in the finishing chute. Like if you stop, they're gonna threaten you with a wheelchair. Honestly, they're going to yell at you. They're going to be like, if you can't keep moving, we're going to take you to the medical tent. So keep moving, get your stuff. I mean, you can stop for a second, take that selfie with the finish line behind you because you earned it with your medal. Like, please stop and take a picture. But they don't want you to like stop. They don't want you to sit on the side of the curb. Um, it really is an inconvenience to the other runners because what happens is then it causes a bottleneck and people can't finish their race. And that's not fair to them. So keep moving. You know, if you do need to stop because your leg is cramping or you can't open your water bottle because your hands are too cold or whatever, stop for a second. But keep moving. They will provide water, more Gatorade because you haven't had enough all day. So more Gatorade. You'll get the awesome poncho. I wish I had my poncho on right now because it is amazing. It's like this color orange and it's fleece lined and it has Velcro right here. It has a hood. It is the most cozy thing you will put on after a race. It is way better than those heat sheets you get. They will give you a snack bag, like a little like drawstring backpack filled with snacks. It has Gatorade. I think it had Gatorade chocolate milk, which I did not like. An apple because it's New York. You got to have the apple. Some pretzels. I think there's some other like protein bars or something in there. And then you walk out of the park like a mile just to get out of the park. And
Wow.
your people that are tracking you from your bib will get a notification. Whitney just left Central Park or the finish area or whatever it says. So they'll know when you're actually out of the park. They'll get the notification when you cross the finish line and then when you exit the park because it is that long. They say sometimes it can take 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how tired and sore your legs are, to get out of the park.
Wow, that's a nice touch. Yeah, that they notify them. And what is
Yeah.
the best way to like meet up with family after? Is it like a matter of you guys set a spot that you're like, here's the meeting point, or
So I can't remember the road, but when you get out of Central Park, you're on like that main road. I think that the museum is on, the Natural History Museum is on, like right there. Uh, you make a left out of the park, and they set up runner reunion areas based on like your last name initial. So I would go to the L street. So the side streets are designated for runners to go and meet their spectators. You don't have to go to your last name. You know, L is a pretty popular last name. So is S, right? Like there are a lot of people. So maybe you want to walk a little bit further and go to X or Z,
right?
right? It just depends, but definitely coordinate that with your spectators beforehand and say, I'm making up a street name. I'm gonna meet you on East 72nd Street, right? I'll meet you one block down on East 72nd, right? So that you're not right where all the runners come in. And that makes it a little bit easier just to kind of reunite with your runners. And cell phone service, I've never had an issue after the race. Before the race on Staten Island, I've had some problems with cell service. But after the race, I've never had a problem. I was able to call my mom and be like, "Oh, I'm turning on West 72nd. I'll be there in 10 minutes." And she would text me and say, "Just got off the subway." Like never had an issue. So, if you can't find your family, your phone will work. You'll be okay.
All right, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And Yeah, now we wanna know, like, what's your biggest New York City Marathon question or worry that you have this year? Coach Whitney and I will answer your question if you drop it in the comments below. And next, we're going to get to your listener submitted kind of quick hitting questions. But before we do that, if you're already getting value from this and enjoying these tips about how you can plan for the New York City Marathon experience, we would greatly appreciate if you hit that like button, and so we can continue creating free content like this so you can maintain a strong mind, a strong body, and just keep running. Also, if you're loving this content, then you'll certainly love our marathon training and racing free guide. This guide is really designed to cater both the beginner and the advanced marathon runner who's really looking to accomplish their goals while prioritizing longevity as a runner and minimizing the risk for injuries. What you're going to learn about is marathon mindset, how to pick the right marathon training plan, base building during marathon, strength training while balancing marathon training, um, also marathon specific nutrition, training for your marathon during the summer months when you're having heat. Coach Whitney has a nice training on insider tips for race travel for your destination marathon. And we also get into like marathon recovery and also gear recommendations. So you can go ahead and grab your free download ebook by clicking the link that I have for you in the description, or simply go to learn.sparkhealthyrunner.com/marathon. All right, Coach Whitney, let's get to some of the listener submitted quick hitting questions here. So,
All
where's
right.
the best place for family to cheer?
Oh, that's a hard one. Near a subway stop because it's going to be easier for them to get on and off a subway than for them to try and like cross the course, which you are allowed to do technically, but it will really annoy all the runners. So try not to do that. My parents like mile 8 and around mile 18, which is great for the runners because it's those are good spots. That's like when you need it because you're mile 8, you're feeling good. You're kind of in those groove miles. Mile 18, you're getting to the end and you're getting kind of tired, so you get that boost. But it's totally up to them. I would say look at the course map and the subway map next to each other together, sit with them, and figure out where they're going to be in the cross streets and if they're going to be on your right or on, well, that's my left, on your left or on your right, so that you know which side to look for them. And pro tip, maybe I shouldn't tell you this, my mom might get a little mad. If they hold a pool noodle, it is really easy to see them and it doesn't get in the way of other spectators. So holding up a bright orange, bright pink pool noodle makes it really easy for the runner to spot the spectator.
Ah,
And
I
then
like that.
you
Little
can
pro
find your
tip
people.
there.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. And how can your family and friends track you on race day?
There is an app, and I think it should be available now. We're about a little less than 3 weeks out from New York City Marathon this year. I believe it's just called the New York City Marathon app. And you can put in their bib number. You can search by last name. You can add as many people as you want. You can track the pros, the elites. You can track anybody. And it's actually kind of fun because you see their little initials moving along the course throughout the day. You can see where they are. And every time they run over one of those timing mats, which I believe are every 5K, the half, 20 miles, the finish line, and exiting the park, they get a notification. So they don't have to be watching the app. They get a notification at all of those timing mats.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. And earlier you mentioned like orange, blue, pink, like these different colors. What if you're running with a friend of yours, you have a different color but you're in the same wave? Like can you
Yeah,
actually run together?
absolutely.
Okay.
So you can always move back a corral. So let's say you're in blue and I'm in pink, but you're in corral A and I'm in D. You would have to come back to run with me in corral D, if
Gotcha.
that makes sense.
Yep.
But it absolutely doesn't matter. You can run in any color, even if you're running by yourself. If you're assigned the pink wave or the pink color and you want to run on the top of the bridge, you can run in blue or orange as long as you move back a corral.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah. So that's the same as like Disney and how they
Yes.
do their corrals.
Yeah.
So, what's the best sign that you've ever seen?
Oh my gosh, there are some really funny ones, but my favorite at every race is the one. Well, I have a couple favorites. I really like when people have the ones that say "Go random stranger." Because it's not specific to one person, and I am that random stranger. You don't know me, so that makes me feel really good. And I always like seeing the little kids with the power boost signs. They've always got their hand up. So I always give them a high five and tap their little mushroom or their star for the little power boost. But let me tell you, Chicago had dogs everywhere that said free pets, like around their neck. So I went and pet all the little doggies along the course. It was so much fun. So much fun. I don't know if New York has that because they have a lot more spectators, so I feel like it'd be a little more crazy. But yeah, go pet the dogs, high five the kids. Yeah, my favorite
Yeah.
sign that my kids have made, uh, which wasn't at New York, it was here at a local race, said, "You think you're really good at running, but I'm really good at making signs."
I love that.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love reading the signs during a race.
Yeah,
It's just such a nice little like distraction,
right? Yeah.
especially when yeah the going's like getting tough and it's getting hard, and you're really trying to push, and then you just read like a funny sign, and you're just like, that's great. Thank you so much.
You see the ones that say, "Smile if you're not wearing any underwear." I always smile, but I'm like, "I am wearing underwear, but I'm smiling." Like, let me just clarify, but it does make me smile every time. Yeah.
So we talked about race morning logistics, course experience, expo essentials, race strategy, post race. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you think kind of first time New York City marathoners should know about, or anything else that we really haven't touched upon?
Just be prepared to wait race morning. Be patient. Everyone is in the same boat as you. Well, hopefully you're not on the boat anymore, but you're all there together. You're all going through the same things. You're all trying to waste time, make the morning go by faster. Make a friend. Start talking to someone in the porta potty line. Like, make a friend. Most people are there by themselves. So having someone to talk to is going to make that time go by faster. It's going to kind of put like your mind at ease, relax a little bit. Just be nice to everybody. If you're in line and somebody comes up behind you for the porta potty and it's like, it is an emergency, I have to go, let them go in front of you. Like, don't be a jerk. Just be nice to everybody. It's a long day, so be nice. That goes a long way.
Don't be a jerk. Be
Don't be a
nice.
jerk.
Love it. It's a great motto, great mantra for the race. So, if you guys are like wondering how to train for your next marathon without getting injured, this is exactly what Coach Whitney and our team at Healthy Runner really specialize in with our signature Spark Healthy Runner coaching program, where we provide you with a structured not only run plan but strength training for running, proper mindset, nutrition, recovery, with full support from our coaching team and accountability. If you want to learn more about that, simply click the link in our show notes or just go to learn.sparkhealthyrunner.com/coaching. And don't forget to get your download of our free ultimate guide to crushing your marathon, feeling strong, by clicking the link in the show notes. Coach Whitney, it's always awesome connecting with you. Congratulations on your Chicago finish. And as always, thank you so much for sharing your marathon wisdom and goodness with our Healthy Runner community, all about the New York City Marathon.
Yes, it is a great race, you guys. I'm actually having FOMO that I'm not running this year. So I know you guys are going to have an amazing time. I cannot wait to hear all about it and see all of your pictures. So be sure to tag us so we can see them.
Yeah, and thank you guys for listening or watching this, whether you listened on the podcast during a run, car ride, or watch the video version on the Spark Healthy Runner YouTube channel. We appreciate you, and if you enjoyed it, like, please copy this link, share it with a runner who is running New York, because yeah, I'm sure you probably learned something today, and you can definitely help them out. So remember that time, like when you didn't know something about running, and then a friend shared it with you. Go ahead and like pay it forward, right? And share it with another runner who is, looking to conquer New York. Let's spread like some running knowledge with our local running communities so we can all reap like the physical, mental benefits that running affords us. And be sure to subscribe to the Spark Healthy Runner YouTube channel or the Healthy Runner podcast, for more exciting running tips and tricks. And if you like this training, then you'll surely like the next on conquering conquering your marathon with expert pacing and nutrition tips by Coach Whitney for race day excellence. So if you're listening on the pod, then cue up episode 286. And if you're watching this in YouTube, then just click the video that I have for you next. As always, let's maintain a strong mind, a strong body, and let's just keep on running. Until next time.